that when you have money, you have independence, and if you have independence, you can say no to people.
Yes.
You can say no to situations, right? I also loved what Sushmita said in one of our interviews recently. That achievement is a घिसा-पिटा concept. बिल्कुल सही बात है. Because women are put on this pedestal with थोड़ी चीज कर ले, काफी achieve कर लिया जी आपने. बड़ी success हो गई. यार मेरी लेंस में ये सक्सेस नहीं है. आलिया भट्ट को कितने लोगों ने बोला होगा रॉकी और रानी के बाद की बड़ी headstrong है, but firstly there were no women role models. You were stuck between Priyanka Chopra and Mother Teresa. I mean these are very difficult role models to make because if you can't be Mother Teresa or Priyanka Chopra, आपने किया क्या लाइफ में? अरे ये कैसा benchmark है? It's very difficult to maintain it, right? Hi, I'm Shaili Chopra and I'm on Fever FM with Stutee.
Hi guys, मैं हूँ स्तुति. Welcome to the Super Womania Show. अच्छा, फीवर 104 FM आप देख रहे हैं या सुन रहे हैं. ये जो नया सेगमेंट हमने शुरू किया है, इसका नाम है Women at Work. As the name suggests, it is exactly what we're going to talk about, which is women at work. How is it? Is it tough? Is it easy? Do you need permission to still want to work? And what happens when you decide not to? और मैं इस चैट के लिए एक ऐसे गेस्ट को लेके आई हूँ जिनको पकड़ना कि वो टिक के कहीं बैठ जाएं बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. With me is Shaili Chopra. Welcome to Fever 104.
Thank you, Stutee.
I love her vibe, love her energy, and दूर से मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ आपको टोटल एडमायरर हूँ ऑफ हाउ मच यू पैक इन टू अ डे. हम सबके 24 घंटे हैं, आपके कितने हैं?
I just wanted to prove people together. No, women are multitaskers. I thought, let me just prove them right.
I love that. Okay, so Shaili Chopra, you started off as a journalist and a very well-respected one at that. Then your journey as an entrepreneur, She the People, now Gayatri. You want to talk a little about this, particularly Gayatri?
In journalism and media, you learn how to do everything yourself, right? They teach you everything. The basics of business start there, if you ask me. But it's been such a great journey just making the shift and getting into the driver's seat in a business world. Gayatri is, India's first women's platform that's aiming to solve for fatigue, tiredness and immunity needs of women. Because we always wait for this mega problem जो हमें हो रही होती है, main pain that we are suffering. But we never realize our biggest suffering is how tired we are. How much work we do. We work at home, at office, at radio stations, as journalists, as businesswomen. We get tired. And we don't think that is an issue. So I think Gayatri was born to solve for many of women's pain points and say, let's get healthy and happy. Why healthy and sad?
Super. And it's so important because हम एक चीज भूल जाते हैं, we can actually do it all, but for that you need to prioritize your health, and that is I think what Gayatri is foregrounding. But abhi we want to talk about you, and we want you to tell us, have you ever felt you enter a room and you intimidate people, or men particularly?
I think definitely that might have happened.
Are you aware of it?
A little bit, I suppose, because when you're been on television for 18 years of your life and you walk into the room and people were like, oh, मैंने आपको देखा है. And or, can I get your autograph? Can I get a picture? आजकल selfies हैं, पहले ये नहीं होता था. But I think that it's okay to intimidate, right? Because for most part of our lives, we've been intimidated.
I'm glad you say that, but is it okay? Because I know a lot of women who say, nahi, you have to find a way around it. थोड़ा sugarcoat करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा dumb bimbet बनना पड़ता है sometimes.
Oh, likeable. Oh my God, that debate. How do we become more likeable? I think it's a brilliant question. Can I say that I may not have done it inadvertently, ignorantly, unknowingly, 100%? Because that's all I was taught, right? How do you sit? How do you talk? How do you not raise your voice? How you're in a salaried job. So you have to be nice to people. So I think there are all kinds of dynamics at work. But I think at the point in my life when I realized the system needs change, that's when I said, here are my high heels and I will walk and intimidate if that's what it takes to change it. But guess what? There are so many men, since you asked the question about men, out there who are like, I'm walking with you. I'm not going to be intimidated in the traditional sense of it. Let me make you space on this red carpet. And I love that.
You spoke about this is what I was taught. So obviously for us, हम feminism की बात करते हैं. It's also so much about the unlearning that we've had to do. Because a lot of us had a certain conditioning or certain things we grew up watching, seeing, observing, जो internalize कर दिया. You're a Fauji kid. So civilians ko dekhkar.
I know. In Fauji's, there are Faujis and then there are
And then there are
civilians.
civilians, yes.
That's true. I know. So, I was sort of brought up with that, but I have to share a very funny anecdote. My father, all the time when he was raising my sister and I, would ask us, ek to light bahut chati thi, right? In all these little towns we stayed. So that was the time people used to talk, because what else do? You don't have phones or anything.
Yeah.
So my dad would say, so will you get married to a Fauji? He was very excited with the possibility. And I used to think, no, because if I'm working, how am I going to keep switching positions? I'm not going to go from one city to another, one town to another, just to meet one person's career opportunities. So he was very amused. And I think the more I think about it, the more I feel like my dad raised me as a Fauji child, but I wanted to be civilian in that sense, who didn't get posted out, who had her own ship. She was running her own business. When I told my family that I'm going to leave a salary job and do a business, rather run a business, they were horrified.
Yeah.
क्योंकि हमारी family में business कौन करता है, उन्होंने कभी करा ही नहीं. So it was very, very exciting, and at the same time, I was treading literally waters that nobody in my family had known to.
You were doing something that nobody in your family had done, and with money. Also, there's a notion that women don't understand money. They can't understand economics. They're more emotional. These very typical things. So, wo kabhi issue tha, or you'll have to give it to your parents for just the way they brought you up?
So I think it's very common. लड़कियों को सारा टाइम बोला जाता है कि आप मनी अच्छे से मैनेज नहीं करते हो, तो इसलिए कहते हैं अच्छा नहीं तो अपने छोटे भाई को साथ ले जाओ, वो मैनेज कर लेगा. You know what I'm trying to say? It's that prevalent. But I think what was very clear to me was that if you don't earn your money, we have none to give you.
Yeah.
I think वो मेरे लिए was the most empowering moment. That's what it is. Let's write it down and put a poster on the wall. You have to earn your own money. So that was very clear to me. Secondly, it's funny, on the way to this show, I was talking to a friend who was reminding me, Shaili, you're all the time talking about purpose and then money. It's time for you to talk about money and then purpose. And it's totally okay that sometimes in your life you put money first and then purpose, and sometimes purpose first and money then. Because eventually my goal is to use my money for my purpose. But I think my parents and their upbringing was that when you have money, you have independence. And if you have independence, you can say no to people.
Yes.
You can say no to situations, right? So I think stereotypes around money, women are so common. They will be here for a long time to come. But once you start enjoying the power your money gives you, to me, it is not greed. It is not gold digging, as they say in our world. It is simply independence and freedom.
The fact that now, I've never heard a man say, negotiation mein mujhse paise ki baat nahi ho pai. I couldn't talk about money, but I've heard so many of my friends say, I don't know how to ask for a raise. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look nice. I just left the money thing aside. Do you have practical tips for us women to be able to negotiate that?
I'll tell you something. The number of men have come and asked me this question, I feel very proud that I've actually trained some men also to go do some negotiation.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Because I think this problem can be universal. Just like women are expected to be Rambo, men are expected to also be that, and sometimes they're very meek and they are also shy of discussing money. So it's a universal problem. I don't know how many men speak about it because अच्छा नहीं लगता है कि उनको आता नहीं है negotiate करना. और लड़कियों के पास choice नहीं होती है. So they are just stuck, they have to seek help. But I think there are 3 basic things. One, know why you want the money. Just know that. And when you know that, that means you will chase it, come what may. Second, I think we have a habit of thinking that we're less. So whoever created that thing that, you've got to know your worth, you've got to know it. And not only do you have to know your worth, you should know what's backing that worth. So know your facts, know your talent, know your pitfalls, know if you're really valued correctly or are you overvaluing yourself. Show yourself the mirror. Right? And third, I think there is no replacement for a combination of hard work and talent that you can put together and negotiate on the table. Yes, you have to raise your hand and you have to sometimes raise both hands and say, I need this outstanding rating because I deserve it.
Have you ever faced this boys club culture? So many people...
If being confident and knowing that you're intelligent didn't bring us boys club culture, thousands of women would have been leading Fortune 500 companies. And I would say, given that I'm a Fauji kid, for us, though, there was no difference between men and women growing up at all. Somehow in that environment of the armed forces, you are pretty much yourself until you hit the civilian work world, till they start, distinguishing you on gender and background and various things. But having stepped in the real world, I feel more and more I think about it, there is a bro culture, which is different from a boys culture, because really bro culture involves men being patriarchal to other men as well, and to women. And I think that that set of men are problematic for society as a whole, not just for women. So I think that's one thing. Second is the realization that in many ways the bro culture is a cancel culture. They don't want women or other men who are not aligned with them to be part of that. Essentially eliminating and wanting their type to stay and congregate. It's a classic system or formula of patriarchy. Power is with me, it rests with me, it'll stay with those who agree with me. And I think more and more people realize that. And I am, like many others, a survivor of that system. The only thing is, and I'd say this to more women, particularly जब हम कहते हैं ना, women can have it all, and that some women have it all. I tell you, no women has had it all. बहुत मुश्किलों से गुजरना पड़ता है, बहुत ज़्यादा fight करनी पड़ती हैं. At the same time, you make a big effort to find your allies. And these allies will come as your dads, friends, boyfriends, fiancés, husbands, or just friends. And they'll come across as people who will change the game for you, because they know that the world's written rules have been written wrong.
And do you recall a time when you probably, it was really tough for you to do that, because you also, I believe, would have learned on the job.
Correct, बिल्कुल.
कोई manual तो है नहीं, you face it and then you realize you have to.
2006 तक feminism का फ नहीं पता था.
और बोलना कोई नहीं बोलता
और कोई बोलता ही नहीं था.
In fact, people would say, I'm not a it was cool to say, I'm not a feminist.
Yeah, I've heard that one so much, right? And at that point, I was not even that conscious about how warped our world was in terms of gender ratio. हालांकि I could see that I was a trailblazer among women to go into business journalism, क्योंकि लोग देखते थे कि 4 तो लड़कियां हैं who are running this entire world of business journalism with men. And I could see that the amount of attention we were getting for doing this seemed little awkward to me. I'm like, क्यों भाई क्या पहाड़ तोड़ रहे हैं? Why is this so important? And when I realized that this was important, that we had become role models, I also realized what we could potentially do to change the system. Which is why when I got out of journalism in mainstream broadcast journalism in 2014, and I said, let's see the power of digital. How can it fix women? People were like, women क्या होता है? मतलब इनके लिए कौन काम करता है? You know what I mean? Women कोई अलग market होती है. I've heard that, right? So maybe your audience, both men and women, should know some maths. Quick lesson in math. We are 1.4 billion people in this country. We are 750 million. That is 50% of the Indian population is female. At 50%, we are twice the size of the United States, 3 times the size of Brazil, 7 times the size of Japan. We are still Indian women. At 750 million Indian women, we are 10% of the world's population. हम कोई special segment है, हम पूरी दुनिया है. We are the universe. हम सोच नहीं रहे हैं. The number of women in India, the number of single women in India is 72 million. That is larger than many countries in the world. Please mark this math. मेरे camera people भी सोच रहे हैं, उनको ये पता ही नहीं था. It's an important math. You got to know it. That's when you'll realize, we're the same number. We should be half the voice, half the vote, half the power.
अभी बड़े सवाल मैंने पूछने शैली से, पर अभी this is segue to my next question, since you referred to single women. Okay, so single women की तादाद बहुत ज़्यादा है.
दुनिया की सबसे ज़्यादा इंडिया में.
Tell me, how is it? You're a mother, you're a wife, you're an entrepreneur. कैसे? क्या हो रहा है?
वैसे मैं किसी और की एनर्जी बोरो नहीं कर रही हूँ. I would say हम सब खुद ही करते हैं. But there is something called strategy, जो हर woman को पता होती है. And I think women are very good at creating strategy. And the more we adopt women-led strategies, the better this world will be. One is, let's not reinvent the world. A friend of mine used to say, somebody else has solved this problem before, go find them. So, गोल रोटी बनाने के लिए मेरी मॉम ने मुझे क्लास 5 से ट्रेन करना शुरू करा था. मैं अभी भी आंखें बंद करके गोल रोटी बना सकती हूँ. But I realized when I was 21, I don't need to make gold rotis because अब roti maker आता है. I'm just saying, right? Or you find somebody, give them employment, they win, you win.
Yeah.
Another thing Zia Modi taught me, you have to make your choices. You may have the talent of making rotis, but is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Is that what will give you better return on your investment and talent? At 4 a.m., I would find Zia Modi at Bombay's 5 Stars running meetings with a bunch of male investment bankers. They will show up wherever she goes. And I was like, yes, I don't need to do what I've been trained to do. I can do what I want to do. I will write my legacy the way I want it. So you go after that. And when you go after things like that, you say, भाई strategic होने के लिए support system चाहिए. Support system simply means you make some good choices. You invest in good people. You love them so that they stay with you. And you continue to be honest to your relationships, your family, and do whatever you can. But you realize that, you know what is happening? All of us women, both in our difficult moments at work, which can be very taxing, whether you're working for somebody or yourself, or in relationships, you realize that you are setting the expectations wrong. आपको किसने कहा है ideal daughter-in-law बनना है? या ideal daughter बनना है? Yeah, please be Shaili Chopra, true to the personality you are. Let everybody also adjust. People who accept you, they will be in your journey. Those who don't, you get out.
So, इस phase में अभी I'll be the voice of society. Okay, and I will say the things that वो 4 लोग कहते हैं. लोग क्या कहते हैं? वो ये कहते हैं कि ये देखो ज़्यादा आप headstrong हो.
हाँ. Oh बाप रे, that word. #headstrong.
You know, इतने headstrong, ठीक है, success है, career है, but ऐसे relationship तो नहीं ही चल पाएगी ना. ये तो आपको adjust करना पड़ेगा, compromise करना पड़ेगा. ऐसे आदमी नहीं, उनको नहीं पसंद आते कि इतने घर पे भी आए तो कोई इतना headstrong इंसान हो.
मैं headstrong हूँ. In the way society defines it. Actually, I'm just another woman looking to have an ambition, speaking her mind. You know, speaking her mind जैसे आदमी लोग करते हैं, boys करते हैं, other strong women करती हैं. I just like that, right? I also loved what Sushmita said in one of our interviews recently. कहती है, achievement is a घिसा पिटा concept. बिल्कुल सही बात है. Because women are put on this pedestal with थोड़ी चीज़ कर ले, काफ़ी achieve कर लिया जी आपने, बड़ी success हो गई. यार मेरी लेंस में ये सक्सेस नहीं है. I am only 40. I have a big plan till 50. Then I want to do something else till 60. करना है मुझे कुछ अलग अलग. आपकी आईसाइट में मैं कॉन्फिडेंट सक्सेसफुल हूँ, मेरी आईज में नहीं हूँ मैं वो. सो मेरा कहने का मतलब है दैट ये एक सॉर्ट ऑफ इट्स व्हाट वी आर फेड इनटू. आपने कहा ना ये सोसाइटी की 4 वॉइसेस, ये सारा टाइम ही है हमारे साथ. नहीं जरूरी आपको पंगा लेना है ये बोल के, यू नो आई हैव हर्ड दैट इन दिल्ली अ लॉट. आप बड़ा पंगा लेती हैं. ऐसे पंगा नहीं ले रही हूँ, मैं बोल रही हूँ कि आपने इतना बड़ा मैनल खड़ा करा है, 2 औरतों की आवाज डालिए और कॉन्वर्सेशन बदल जाएगी. राइट? नहीं आप लोग तो हर जगह पहुंच जाती हैं. ये आप लोग कौन है? आई एम अ रेगुलर वुमन. आई एम नॉट हियर विद अ झंडा. आई एम नॉट इवन हियर विद अ लाठी. No problem if people have to do that. Sometimes you need all those equipment also to make a point. But I'm saying कि simply किसी को ये बोलना कि जो आप करते आ रहे हो वो गलत है. And that you can have an inclusive voice. That women must have more voices from other genders because actually we are all in the same space. We are all dealing with the same kind of patriarchal society. तो इसमें गलत क्या है? जैसे हम कुछ question करते हैं, आप headstrong, ऐसा तो नहीं होता है. अब बताओ आलिया भट्ट को कितने लोगों ने बोला होगा रॉकी और रानी के बाद कि बड़ी headstrong है. भाई क्या डायलॉग दिया उसने. टू थिंक कि हम 2023 में भी यही डायलॉग सेलिब्रेट करें, शर्म की बात है. राइट? बट 2023 में हम इसे फेमिनिस्ट फिल्म कह रहे हैं, जबकि ये एक्चुअली 2000 में बननी चाहिए थी. बट दैट्स द स्टेट ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी. तो लोग तो कहते ही रहेंगे.
आई एम सो ग्लैड यू सेड इट. द अदर थिंग इज to have to, I mean, we all love to work and to prove yourself. Everybody should be able to do that. We're given that opportunity and be able to do that. But double मेहनत करनी पड़ती है to be taken seriously. एक मेहनत वो conditioning break करने के लिए, और फिर
आपने कितनी लेडीज की rags to riches स्टोरी सुनी है? बताइए. D+ आया था इनके क्लास 12 में, पर देखिए इन्होंने कितना बड़ा शानदार बिजनेस चालू किया है. सुनिए आपने वो स्टोरी ऐसे. All women have to be A+. To become CEO, then they have to crack it at the CEO. There is a concept in India which I'm trying most of the time to break, and with no apology, I mean with apologies to anybody who's a astronaut and taking our rockets to space. Women don't have to be rocket scientists to be successful. You can be successful sitting here doing interviews, running your household, being a homemaker, going to office,
Just
being whatever you want to do, looking after your parents, making the choice to not marry because mama की तबीयत खराब है. It's okay. You're successful in different ways. अब हम बोलेंगे जी ये successful woman को पहले इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा बैंक चलाना होगा और वहाँ पर वैसे ही हमारी 2 women ने कुछ गलतियां कर दी हैं. अब now the entire population of women who want to be in banking are responsible for the errors 2 female bankers have made. Is this what we deserve? We have to be answerable for every woman who makes an error? No, we don't. We have to be answerable to ourselves and we have to be answerable to our definition of success. Please, don't put pressure on yourself. If you can't be the woman who's landing something on the moon, it's okay. Can you land a chapati on your plate and eat it and be happy and energize yourself? Totally cool, man. You're rocking it.
And so, what role does a female role model play in your life? Have you, growing up, seen strong women around you and just been absolutely madly in love with them in how they conduct themselves?
So, firstly, I must say this very honestly. I was extremely impressed by men. They get it right so nicely. They are so well turned out. They know how to command power. And I used to see, look, करते कैसे हैं? मुझे क्यों नहीं आता है? Very honestly. Firstly, there were no women role models.
Okay.
मतलब, you were stuck between Priyanka Chopra and Mother Teresa. I mean, these are very difficult role models to make, right?
Yeah.
So, you're asking yourself, I may not have the luck beauty of Priyanka Chopra. I must claim she's also Fauji. That's why I also love her a lot. True for Sushmita as well, Fauji. But what I'm trying to say is that you put yourself up against failure because if you can't be Mother Teresa or Priyanka Chopra, आपने किया क्या life में? अरे ये कैसा benchmark है? It's very difficult to maintain it, right? So we didn't have other women role models because आम लड़कियां role model मतलब what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
So when you're stuck with that, you ask yourself, who should I model myself in? So you're like, okay, now there are only men. चलो इन्हीं के जैसे बन जाते हैं. If you can't find a role model who's a woman, learn from men how to be unapologetic about your success or whatever you've achieved. Don't feel shy. So I must admit, when I was growing up, I didn't have female role models at all because they were never regular people. And they didn't make me feel like, यार अगर रानी की झांसी या झांसी की रानी नहीं बनोगे तो कुछ नहीं किया है.
Yeah.
हमें तो सिर्फ यही सिखाया जाता था कि झांसी की रानी या फिर beauty queen. अब you don't want to be either. So I think that was an important thing. But I feel that today, that has changed. I mean,
You think
of
that
course, yeah. I mean, not joking, but I mean, जब हम स्तुति की आवाज रेडियो पे सुनते हैं, you know, you're like, man, yeah, she really makes me feel मजा आ गया मेरे दिन का. She gets me going. She's got the songs I want. She has the conversation I want. Absolutely, right? जो मेरी किताब है Sisterhood Economy, उसका premise ही है. If girls and women help each other,
Yeah.
we are rocking it anyway. ये तो हो ही जाएगा.
How important have female friendships been to you? You know, are there times like this, you know, to hang out? Nobody gets you the way your girl friends get you, the girl gang gets you.
So I'll give you 2 examples. एक scientific answer है, it's not coded in the DNA. We have just been offered
Conditioned,
in conditioning. And there is a reason I say that. आप देखो गर्ल्स को गर्ल्स के साथ कंपेयर क्यों किया जाता है? ये नहीं कि उसके $1 billion बिजनेस है, तुम्हारा $500 million है. I think that's not a bad comparison.
Yeah.
वो देखो कितनी गोरी है, तुम कितनी काली हो, राइट? उसके कपड़े कितने सुंदर हैं, तुमने क्या पहना हुआ है, राइट? वो लड़की कितनी एलिगेंट है, आप एकदम लड़कों की तरह टॉम बॉयिश हो. आई एम लाइक फिजिकल एट्रीब्यूट्स आर द ओनली थिंग यू कंपेयर देम इन. Then you think my nose is teda, that one's got curly hair, I'm long, I'm short, I'm fat, I'm thin. What is this? Have you ever heard of 2 men being compared on their weight? वो लड़का कितना मोटा है, कितना पतला है. इसकी वजह से उनकी नौकरियां बदल नहीं रही हैं, ना ही उनकी opportunities, right? It's about that guy, he's built $1 billion business. क्या बात है? We have this problem in the way we are creating our thinking around women. But the second part is, look at you and me. हमने रैंडमली इंस्टाग्राम में एक दूसरे को डीएम किया. ये हमारी 3री मीटिंग है और कोई प्लान नहीं था इस शो का. फर्स्ट मीटिंग में हम रैंडमली मिले, हमने बातें करी. वी रियलाइज कि दिस इज हाउ सिस्टरहुड ग्रोज. आई डिडंट थिंक कि मैं स्तुति को मिलने जा रही हूँ, ये कितनी कूल इंसान है, फीवर 104 में शी इज लाइक द कूलेस्ट सेलिब्रिटी, ये वो सोच सकती थी मैं. ये भी सोच सकती थी, हाय मैं क्यों मिलने जाऊँ, मैं तो ब्रॉडकास्ट जर्नलिस्ट हूँ, आई रन 2 businesses, व्हाटएवर शिट, यू नो. But we didn't do any of that, right? Power of sisterhood. Just
Very
meet
true.
people, be happy, enjoy other people's happiness. That's happy.
So cool. Okay, Shaili, we've spoken about so much, but there's no way, since you're here, that I do not talk about power dressing. I do not
Acha,
talk
aisa
about.
hi hai?
Yes. I love your style. Okay, in fact, I was surprised. You have to see the way Shaili styles her sarees.
Thank you.
Okay, that's so eclectic. It's so much fun. How important, because बहुत सारी चीज़ें हम जब पेट्रियार्की की बात करें, और एक चीज़ जो बहुत अच्छी जो खूबसूरत निकल के आई है कि it's not just gender based. Men equally are victims of patriarchy. They're also straight-jacketed. They have to fit in just like women are supposed to. The girly girl and a masculine macho man. How important is it to present yourself in a way that the way you look also does half the job for you?
I think there are 2-3 interesting ways to look at it. One, I'm raising a daughter. She is 6 years old and she has, like all other kids, about 30 dresses in her cupboard. She wears only 3 and every day she thinks she's wearing something new. It's actually the same pair of shorts that she has been wearing for the last 1 week, right? They just get washed over and over again. So I've realized that, this whole sartorial obsession is quite an obsession because one, we are fundamentally created equal. Once you come in the world and you look at something that's comfortable, you get used to it, you're comfortable with it, right? So I think over emphasis on how to dress based on what the world expects you to do is a little bit overdone.
Okay.
Maybe when my daughter turns a teenager, I may have a different view. I have no idea. Having said that, I grew up in a world where my father used to say, first impression is an important impression. He wouldn't say it's the last impression, he would say it's an important impression. I think somewhere, in my career, that logic has worked. And another close logic is always dress for the weather. I used to always find it weird how in like snowy Moscow people will walk in shorts, and I used to think inka dimag kharab hai bilkul, matlab how are they managing it? The reason I'm saying these two things is because fashion drives a great deal of our sense of power. Right? I mean, many women would say, I love wearing heels. Right? I mean, COVID, I realized actually I enjoy my saris most with sneakers. ताकि मैं दौड़ के जा सकती हूँ. Or, I can be a running mother and a running entrepreneur in whichever way I want. But having a sense of your own is the most powerful thing. And I think what's been liberating is these last 5 years where nobody sitting in London is deciding that salmon pink is the color of the year. मतलब पागल हो जाएंगे from Janpat to, I don't know, whatever is the fanciest mall in this country. They would say, you all have to wear salmon pink and then this will be like a tsunami of salmon pink. And you used to think, am I losing out on this fashion brigade? Today's fashion brigade is how you make it, which is why I wear men's shirts with my saris, sneakers with them. Often I never use the blouse piece. I always have something completely wacko with my outfits. I think a lot of it is also functional dressing. हम लोग अब जाके बोलते हैं, the ladies who do all those Lavani dance are the functional ladies. Actually, that's true. You turn your sari into pants and you just perfectly walk around. But when we see this on the cover of top magazines with jackets, and you're like, oh my God, with those Gucci glasses, they are slaying it. Totally. I mean, we just need to slay it with functional dressing, which can be power dressing. We just don't define it like that. Yeah. I would simply say that just don't turn your jewels into your outfits, which is tending to happen sometimes. But otherwise, I think it's good.
Shaili, your own admission, you're very ambitious. So when you decided to have kids, thodi insecurity thi, did you feel this is going to be a pause button? What will happen? My life will change. How will I do it?
I don't think मेरे को कोई insecurity थी. Motherhood kind of throws out too many surprises sometimes. And I know my mother must be laughing, thinking that कि मैंने तो बोला था. But, like, I still remember, एक तो I had a male gynecologist, right? So, back when I was having kids, most people were like, who has a male gynecologist? And that itself became a conversation, right? But and I did none of this by design, by the way, okay? वो chance की बात है, it just turned out like that. And I was just comfortable, so it worked out. But my first child came 21 days before the due date. I was like, who comes early? Matlab, I had a book submission. I was writing my first book ever. There was so much pressure, deadline ka. Now the child has come. I'm stressing, my deadline kaise complete hogi? Then when my second child came 15 days earlier, I was like, yaar, isko to time pe aana chahiye tha. I literally was at a meeting with these people who had flown in from Dehradun. I was going to meet them. I had to detour to the hospital. The minute I got my, my bearings back, within 4 hours of that baby, I called those people there. I said, like, listen, too bad. You come here, sit with me. I will talk to you because I have made you fly from
You
two
had
cities.
a meeting in
in Gurgaon, in Max. I had no choice because I have made some poor people come down to meet for a business meeting, and I've happily gone and had a child in the middle. I was like, uski galti to nahi hai technically.
I love this sentence formation of happily gone.
I mean, देखो उसकी गलती नहीं थी, and I kept thinking कि at best क्या हुआ है ना, I've just had a baby now, ठीक है, baby भी ठीक है, in that little box that they keep the baby. Let's just get on with the meetings and काम पे चलो.
Were you on maternity leave, Shaili, बीच में?
You see,
did your life change?
Actually, I'll tell you the damn funny thing about being an entrepreneur is you decide the rules, है ना? तो maternity leave अपने आप को कभी कोई नहीं देता है, किसी भी entrepreneur से भी पूछ लो. Not that कि आपके rules नहीं होते हैं, अपने आप को नहीं देता है, बाकी सबके लिए है rules, हाँ. I think it's just like one of those things, you just take things as they come. All entrepreneurs have 48-hour days, they have no choice.
Shaili, this was so much fun. Thank you. We spoke about so many different things and straight from the heart, honest as ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Stutee, for being such a role model.
Arey, please. Now I'm blushing.